Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm so excited to see you. This is going to be a blow your mind day. It's Wednesday, and our Wednesday welcome guest, I was just speaking to him, and he's in his car, actually. He's about 2 minutes from his house, and he wants to jump on in his office. And I was like, okay, jump back on. We are with Daven Michaels today, and you are going to be so blown away and excited by that. I just want to tell you, let's talk about a couple of things here. This is the Coffee Break Show. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. And this is the Coffee Break Show. And this is the Wednesday welcome. And the show is brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. Man, somebody didn't have enough coffee this morning. The Metadime Digital Network is who brought these shows to you. This is the Coffee Break Show. We go live Monday through Friday. We share tips, tools, techniques. We share inspiration, motivation, and those things that are going to create thriving in your life. And today we're going to give you a lot of thriving in your life. Today, we are going to talk to Daven Michaels, who's like the king of thriving and virtual lifestyles. That's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're new here, put your name down below and, put it out there so we can meet you. And if you're one of the people who are regular, do me a favor, put a hello down there and say hello. And if you're watching the replay, this is the hashtag replay moment. So I know that you've been watching the replay. Thanks for joining us. So let me tell you about Daven Michaels. Daven Michaels is probably one of the most interesting serial entrepreneurs I have ever worked with in my life. I've learned a lot from him. He's actually really cool. And he's going to be on with us in just a minute. He was in his car. He's going to park his car. He's going to go into the house and he's going to get on with us. And do me a favor. Let me know if you can hear me okay. As we go live, what we're going to be talking about right now is, Daven's background. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He has had several businesses. He had his first business when he was like 15 years old. And he also has the big party businesses. He does events where bands would come and play. I mean, really big bands. He has worked with some of the biggest bands in the 80s that you know about, where he's got gold records from bands that I'm going to let him tell you about because I can't remember the name of them. I just know that they are, famous and fantastic bands that won gold records back in the day. Hey, Metadime team, happy hump day from Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. So glad you're on. Daven's going to be on with us in a minute. Let's see. Good morning. Looking forward to seeing Daven. I know we're going to have fun today. Yes, this guy is so fun. He throws these events that are incredible. If you go to a Daven Michaels conference, which I have as one of his guests on there at the conference, they are so fun. It's a big party. It's a big party while you're learning and talking business and everything else. It's exceedingly fun. And he is just a super fun guy. Live broadcast. That's right. Live broadcast. We come on. You're still in the car. He was with his puppy. He's on with us now. He's just popping on right now in his office. And I'm going to pop this up on here and say, welcome to Daven Michaels. So glad you're here. We've been talking about you while you've been parking in the driveway. I'm so glad you're on. Welcome. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I hear you great. Good to see you.
Do you have your pretty princess puppy with you?
Yeah, Penny.
I'm going to see the puppy here. See, I told you, there's the puppy that was in the car. There he is. Look at that.
You need a perfect puppy.
Yeah. It's the perfect puppy. Daven, welcome. I've been telling him about your past, et cetera. And I got to the point where we were talking about how your events are like big parties. I mean, they're just huge parties. They're so good. Yeah. And you learn a lot, but you have really a lot of fun. Yeah. And I was telling them about the events you had where, these dances and these bands, and you had your first business at like 15 or something like that. Yeah. And it was a particular clothing store, wasn't it?
That's right. It was. Yeah. Boy, great memory.
Well, yeah, it was like some 80s, like
I was
fancy clothes.
Yeah, I was designing clothing for all the biggest bands of the 80s and 90s. Yeah, yep.
That's right. And didn't you work with them? You work with some of these bands. Don't you have gold records for some of the bands?
I have a wall of them. Yeah, that was my second kind of phase in my life, which was I was producing music and television. So yeah, I had a really, really great run there.
So do me a favor and tell me a couple of the bands, because I was telling them they're 80s bands and I couldn't remember any. I knew you did it, but I couldn't remember any of the name of the bands you worked with.
Yeah, sure. I mean, shall I tell my story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Vickie, I do have a really cool story. But one thing I've learned, from speaking all over the world to having that privilege to getting to know entrepreneurs, same thing that you do. As cool as my story is, all entrepreneurs have an amazing story, right?
Yeah,
it's a story of
fun.
trials and tribulation and triumph, hopefully. And so for me, I started my business at 15. Not because I was any wonder kid or anything. Maybe I was a little bit, I don't know. But that nobody told me I couldn't do it. So I just did it. And I was an only child, and my parents encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do. Smart idea, dumb idea. And so I was designing clothing for bands, and it was in the early 80s. And none of my bands really had anything going. Most were playing their garage. But an amazing thing happened just a short while after we opened for business. MTV came on the air, changed the face of music, changed our lives. So I was working with these bands that had nothing going on. Within about 90 days, most of them had record deals. Within about a year, they're selling millions of albums. So I remember first we were in these small venues, and then I think we were playing like 600 people venues, and then 2,000, and then 10,000, and then 50,000. It was stadiums. And we were working with the Thompson Twins, Boy George, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, Prince, all the biggest bands, which was really cool. Jack Nicholson was a great customer. And then from there, I had a telecommunications company, and then I was the biggest electronic music event producer in the U.S. So I used to throw parties for like 15 to 20,000 people a night. And because of that built-in fan base, I was able to, I wanted to become a recording artist. And because I had that fan base, I could throw my own concert and have like 20,000 people at the concert. So I was able to get distribution, and so I went on tour for a while, and I was making music. And then people started to ask me to write and produce for them. And I thought, I'll do that. And with the full intention that I would eventually go back to being a recording artist, but that took off. And I was doing electronic music, but I really wanted to do hip hop and pop because I like the complexities and the challenge of not so much of hip hop, but of pop music. And I saw hip hop as kind of a springboard. So very strategically, I started a record label with a young lady by the name of Layla Steinberg. And I knew Layla really had some strong ties to the hip hop world, and she discovered Tupac, and so that plummeted me into the hip hop world, which was very crazy, and so that was a blast. And so yes, I do have a lot of gold and platinums and stuff, and honestly, I'd still be in that business today. But a crazy thing happened, and that was Napster. So there were 50 million people downloading free music on the internet. And I saw the writing on the wall, and I bounced. I said, there's not going to be music
That's right.
anymore. And so the only thing I knew was production. So I started producing music and television. And it was pretty cool because I hired a staff. I didn't know how to produce television, but I knew how to produce music, which is very similar. And it's really just management. And so I hired a team of 100, and they basically taught me. So I hired them to work for me, but really they taught me. They didn't. I think only the top people knew that they were really like teaching me the biz. The rest, just thought I knew what I was doing. And so I was producing reality television right at the beginning of reality TV, and I didn't really have any hits there because I was only there a few years. And then our outsourcing business took off. And one common thread I do see a lot of when I speak to entrepreneurs is they end up falling into an opportunity, and I think that's because entrepreneurs have two things, right? One is shiny, bright object, which is not so great. But the other is they're very open to opportunities, and that's how opportunities end up falling in their laps. And so I was open to an opportunity, and we had a small phone room. I'll back up a second. So I had a very good friend of mine, a prolific producer, Ian Rich, and Ian had a publishing deal in Asia, and he was really buried in it. So he kind of brought me into that project. And so I found myself on that side of the world several times a year. And so I started a small phone room, about 10 employees, it was the very beginning of outsourcing. And they were just kind of doing my bidding. And then one day I had this idea. I was like, maybe we could offer this as a service. And it was not a good idea because this was so long ago. We were definitely pioneers in the business. There were only two companies that did what we did. So there were big companies that were outsourcing, like American Express was outsourcing. But for entrepreneurs, there was no outsourcing. Entrepreneurs needed it, but they didn't know what it was, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a very bumpy road in the early days. I always say that you can always tell the pioneers because they're the ones with the arrows in their back. And that was certainly us. And we false started several times. And then finally we kind of got it right. And it turned out to be pretty incredible. But in the very early days when we started the company, outsourcing, we were a U.S. company with offices in the Philippines, and outsourcing was a dirty word. So people would call us all day long. We would get calls, F you, and they'd hang up on us.
Whoa.
We would get emails saying, we're going to come burn your building down.
Oh my gosh.
We'll kill you, all kinds of stuff. And so a big tipping point for us and for many entrepreneurs all over the globe was when Tim Ferriss's book came out for
our work week. That's right.
Yeah. And what that did for us as a company, of course, it got people thinking about outsourcing, but also all of a sudden it wasn't a dirty word. So we got to go from defending ourselves to the beginning of educating our marketplace. And so the next challenge for us, well, this was an early challenge, actually, even before Tim's book came out. And that was that entrepreneurs needed outsourcing, but they didn't want it because they didn't know about it. And you don't get rich selling a need, you get rich selling a want, right? People don't buy what they need, they buy what they want.
Right. A lot of people just didn't even understand what outsourcing was.
But yeah, they just didn't know. They didn't know it existed. And so we were very early. So we realized early on that if we wanted to have a market, we'd have to somehow figure out a way to carve out that market. We didn't quite know how we were going to do it, but we knew we had to carve one out for ourselves. So yes, we decided to adopt an educational model, and I started writing books, eventually became a New York Times.
You did?
Yep. And then we created info products. I started speaking on stages all over the globe. We started doing our events all over the world. And as a result, we began educating our prospects and turning them into clients. And that's a model that we still use today, 14 years later. And like you said earlier, I'm not just an educator, I'm an edutainer. And I come out of the entertainment world, and we like to have fun, and we know that people learn more and do more when they're having fun, when they're having a good time, and so that's kind of the way we educate. We enjoy doing it. People seem to like it, so we're still doing it.
It's interesting that you say this, Daven, because there's really two people who have changed my life. Two people, Joel Comm, who was a mentor to me, hired, except love him, and you did. I sat in and I met you at a place we were both speaking at, and you were speaking the day before me, and I sat in the audience and I listened to your 1, 2, 3 employee. And that was the first time. I hadn't even read your book yet. You gave me a copy of the book there. You were like, here, read this, blah, blah, blah. But I saw from the back of the room, and I know I'm an entrepreneur. I do the job of 5 people because that's what I knew. I do the job of 5 people. Sometimes partners are hard to handle, but right now it's different. So what ended up happening was I watched your presentation, obviously, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm missing. Those are like having employees without having employees. Right. For me, the number one thing as an entrepreneur is I didn't want to have employees. I wanted to have people that were handled by someone else that I could give assignments to. And that changed my business. It changed what I was able to do in a day because, for example, if you're doing the accounting, you've lost 2 hours worth of sales because you have to do your accounting, get your books ready. If you're doing your marketing, if you're doing what I call all these unnecessary tasks and you're not really in your wheelhouse, your business suffers. And I will tell you, after I learned this concept, the concept that we're probably going to talk about today, you guys, I see you talking. I'm so sorry. There we go. There's a lot of people saying stuff right now. Hey, good morning to everyone. I got Daven on, and I'm going to just keep talking because I got him here with him, and we're going to be asking questions. Thank you for being here, everybody. I see you popping on. But one of the things that changed, and I don't often share my numbers. I went from being able to do maybe well into the 6 figures to doing the 7 figures per month at some places because I was able to stay in my wheelhouse. I was able to do the things that were actually going to move that needle for me. And that was huge. It was a huge thing. Since then, I bought pretty much every product that Daven puts out. I want to see how it operates. I want to see what it's done. I usually buy everything. So because there's such a hit in there, the specialty you have about helping entrepreneurs slough off the stuff they shouldn't be doing and doing the things that they are the best at. Yeah. You are the king at that. And you do it while having a party going on. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's fun. Yeah, I think that's really the hit that's there. What happened after you began? Because I read your New York Times bestseller. I read it 2 or 3 times, actually. It's kind of earmarked and beat up and everything else. But it's how I learned to run my business in a virtual way. And from that point, I made a commitment to make everything about my life virtual so that I had freedom and mobility. And that's something that's really important as a consulting firm and an author. Yeah. I outsource a lot of that right now, and I want to thank you for that. So my question is, what happened next after you got to the point where you were educating everybody, which was really fun, by the way?
Yeah. It was amazing. So a lot of things happened from that. So first of all, if you're contemplating adopting an educational model in your business, it's a great way to go for so many reasons. So first of all, there were several tipping points in our business. So we talked about one of them, which was when Tim Ferriss's book came out before our work. Because we went from defending ourselves to educating our marketplace. The next one was when we decided to go from marketing to one to marketing to many. And so what do I mean by that? Well, that's when we started doing webinars. That's when I started writing books, right? I knew I'd write a book once, but 100,000 people would read it. That's when I began speaking on stages where I'd be in front of people. That's when I began doing webinars. And that's when our business began to grow exponentially, right? Because so many businesses market it one-to-one, but if every time you open your mouth, you're speaking to 20, 50, 100, or thousands or tens of thousands, then obviously it grows your business exponentially. So that was a huge tipping point for us. The next big tipping point for us was when we began to hire a C-suite. Initially, you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing many hats in the business, but when I was doing that, right, I had so many ideas that I knew would move the needle in my business, but I needed another one of me. And so I remember we had hundreds of employees at the time, and I brought on my first C-level, which was Bijal, Bijal, and that was dramatic because now I had another one of me in the business, right? And so whenever I coach and consult with entrepreneurs, the goal is always this. Look, you want to get leverage in your business so that, like you said, Vickie, you're now focused on the income generating activities in your business, right? And you're fully focused and you're sort of the chief strategist and you have everybody else doing the minutia. And then once you do that, now you make more money, right? So you hire a bunch of VAs and then you begin to make more money, you hire more. Hopefully you hire your employee, right? And then the next step is you bring on C-levels. And C-levels, they're not cheap, unfortunately. They're expensive. But, it really, if you have the right ones, it can just drive your business. And that's what happened. It's true. I remember a decade ago, I said, Bijal wanted to partner with me. And I was like, I don't really need to partner. I remember
that.
But I said, listen, if you want to, come work with me, we'll change the world. And well, that's what happened. I mean, we literally blew up.
It exploded. It really exploded.
Yeah, today we have about 550 employees on 3 continents. We are in the middle of a mega launch right now that we're staffing up for. By the end of the year, we'll probably have nearly 1,000 employees. And here's the interesting thing too. So, Vickie, you said you don't want to have employees, and believe me, I don't want to have employees either. But what's interesting is I do. I have, by the end of the year, I'll have nearly 1,000 employees. But what's really cool is for the last decade, even though I have a brick and mortar business, 3 centers, well, we're opening, our 4th is going online now, hundreds and hundreds of employees, almost 1,000, but I'm still able to run my business from a cell phone and laptop. And I do that.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I do. I do that from some of the most exotic places on the planet. And I teach people how to do that. I do. And we'll talk about that in a sec too, right? And so I do that. And I teach people how to do the same. And it's all because I have systems in place and a lot of leverage. So
This is so important to see because that's the only thing I do. It's like right now, I put my C-suite team together first. Like, here's the idea. Here's this. You want in or you want out?
Mm-hmm.
And the C-suite team I have right now is unbelievable. I feel so blessed, really, really excited. And to me, it's like if you get the right C-suite team, no matter what you throw at them, it's going to be successful once everybody knows how to get their systems in there. And some of those systems are super, super important. And to me, I want to know one question right now, because are you doing a lot of your 1, 2, 3 online? Are they remote now, or are they, because I know you had big centers, call centers that you were doing. Did you roll back into that? Or are you still using the call centers?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'll kind of tell you guys a story because it's pretty interesting. So we have our centers, and then of course COVID hit, and so at first it started to hit, and then in the Philippines they said, "Yeah, that's it, everybody's on quarantine," except they made contact centers mandatory because it's just.
Whoa!
It literally.
Whoa.
Today there are more outsourced employees in India than anywhere on the planet, but there are more voice-based contact employees in the Philippines than anywhere on the planet. And so if you were to make that non-essential, you would shut down the Philippines and probably the world. So they made it essential. But what happened was they closed down all the, so we would get people from the Philippines government would come by. They just come by here and there. But then they shut down all businesses. So now they had tons of government employees with nothing better to do except come into our offices like almost every day. So first it was like, you have to do this. Then you have to space people 2 apart, and then 3 apart, and then 4 apart. And then you have to do this. Everybody has to wear masks. And it just went on and on. And I knew they were going to shut us down. I knew it. And so we made plans. We had tons of laptops, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laptops and boxes. And they shut us down. And on a Sunday, we deployed over 500 computers and employees, sent them all home. They all were working from home. Then we had issues with the boxes, so we had to redistribute the boxes. And anyways, everyone was working from home, which is a challenge for us because we have levels of PCI compliance that don't allow virtual work. But because of what was going on in the world, we were able to get exceptions for that. And so we worked from home, and so we had roosters clucking in the background, and it's really just because everybody in the Philippines had a damn rooster, everybody. But anyways, it went okay. We're back in the office now. Everybody wearing masks and what have you. But we're back to work. So no, we have to work in our offices for a few reasons. One is our clients expect us in a managed facility to have redundant internet, redundant and stable internet, redundant power, redundant telephone, and redundant buildings. So we actually have the ability to shift buildings. We have 2 of our buildings that are about 3 hours from each other. So if something catastrophic happened, we could shift buildings. Of course, our buildings are made to withstand earthquakes and hurricanes. And so, everybody, as long as there's no pandemic going on, everybody works in our centers.
So this is what's interesting to me, because I want to go a little step further, a little step deeper. When we're talking about the virtual lifestyle, what's interesting about this, that actually I learned from you over a period of time, is how to live that virtually. I mean, right now you're running a company that has over 1,000 employees. You're doing it from your laptop and your freaking phone. And think about that, the 1,000 people, and we're doing it in a COVID pandemic kind of economy right now, where he's working with this and he's doing these things that seem impossible for entrepreneurs to do. And this is the thing. Entrepreneurs are innovators. They're people who are looking for problem solving, these things. That's what I love about it. And I know that once I did that, I got it onto my iPad, my laptop, and my phone. I'm in Puerto Rico on vacation, and I'm still going live every single day. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm still connected to my work and my lifestyle. And if this interests you, if that one topic interests you, that you have freedom and mobility, which I have found out because of Daven and his work, Freedom and mobility are my two highest values for me in my life. They are the number ones, freedom and mobility. That means my work goes with me where I want to go. Everything is up there. And you can learn how to do this. And he's the king of making that happen. And I think for right now, we want to take a puppy break. We want to be able to talk about that moving forward. I mean, this is an exciting topic, but literally everyone listening, I know that you can listen to this hashtag replay. You're going over it. This is the man who taught me how to build my virtual life online. So I've got the person who taught me was successful at doing it itself, made me successful as well, and he can make you successful as well. And we're going to be heading into that part of the topic right now. So Daven, I want you to kind of pull back all the secrets of what's going on. How is it that people can build their virtual lifestyle? What can we do now that, we're here in this COVID thing? How do we do this? What can we do? What tools are out there?
Sure, absolutely. And actually, let me just back up a second, because you really made some valid points. And, if you're an entrepreneur and you've had challenges of COVID, I'd say the odds are pretty dang good that you probably innovated, right? And so I'll tell you, that's what happened for us in our business. So when COVID hit, we had some of our biggest clients, I guess the majority of our biggest clients, they actually cut back by 90%. Okay. So when we saw that, we're like, wow, we could go out of business here. So we're like, we literally war roomed and we're like, what can we do to mitigate our risk? And so we innovated, but so did our clients, which is awesome, because our clients are mostly small businesses, which, we have large clients, and I honestly kind of love our large clients because, they have 100 employees. They're just easier to work with. They have specific KPIs and specific processes. We just have to follow them. Yep. And we just have to deliver on what we tell them we're going to do, and come in with good numbers. And it's just easy, and we don't have to worry about collecting payment. And they know how to manage employees, whereas most solopreneurs or micropreneurs don't know how to do that. So so they're great, and I love them. Except what happened was, we still have so many small businesses, because small businesses are DNA. The vast majority of our clients are small businesses. Hi, Penny. And so as a result, and so
got a hippopotamus in her mouth.
This is hippo. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
About 4 pounds. So, anyways, so what happened was, our clients were forced to innovate, and they did, okay, in such a big way. Like, I'll give you an example. One of our big clients, they sell thousands of drones every day. Well, COVID hit and drones went to like almost zero. But now they're selling N95 masks and sanitizer, making more money than they've ever had, and they tripled their staff with us. So between that and what we war roomed, which was a new launch, this will be our biggest year ever at 123. So, during COVID, which is just crazy. All right. So my guess is that if you've gone through this, you did the same thing, you innovated. If you didn't, hopefully this inspires you to do that, right? Yeah. Well, I'm talking to the audience as well. Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, to answer your question, what can somebody do who sort of wants to outsource? I always tell entrepreneurs, there's a myriad of tasks that you can do every day in your business, right? Probably 1,000 tasks you can do every day in your business, but just a small handful that creates immediate bottom line results. And I call those IGAs, or income generating activities. Yeah. So as an exercise, I tell people, look, grab a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, make a list of all of your IGAs, the income generating activities, the things that actually drive the needle in your business. You make a list of those. On the right-hand side, make a list of everything else, the minutia. And then what I suggest doing is go down that list on the left and circle everything that you feel could be outsourced and delegated to somebody else. And then there's going to be some things on the list that are either stuff that you like to do, which you should do, or things that you just are like, it's me, but I can't be replaced. And what I would do is take a step back and say, hey, if I had a month to do a brain dump with somebody, could these then be outsourced, and circle those as well. And then what I suggest people do, if you talk to most gurus or coaches, they will always say, get all the busy stuff off of your plate. Hire a VA and have them do all the busy stuff. I actually disagree. I look at that as kind of a phase 2. But what I know from experience is that, entrepreneurs tend to be bootstrappers. And so
Yes.
really what you want to do is you want to focus on the IGAs in your business and outsource those. Because if you do that, even if you have a VA, a virtual assistant, you're paying less money for them because they're overseas, but they're still a liability on your balance sheet. But if you can make them pay for themselves, then you can hire more of them and continue to do the same thing, and you can scale your business. So I suggest you do that. And then next phase is hire VAs to get rid of the minutia and get that off your plate, because your time is money. And if you have more free time, you can make more money. But I do that in step 2. So ultimately, you're hiring some virtual assistants. They're helping you grow your business. You grow. We grow as a company if you hire us a 1, 2, 3 employee, and your brothers and sisters overseas that have far less than you could ever imagine, they win too. So it's kind of a triple win.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful when you take a look at what you're doing. It sounds counterintuitive, but it actually isn't, to have the VA doing the IGAs. And that was stunning for me. I was like, those are the things that are like, sales driven things or sales. And those are the things you think you want to be in front of to close every single deal, maybe not. That sounds counterintuitive, but tell me why it's better to have that flipped in that way. What does it help me do if that's outsourced? And the first thing you'd have to do is trust the process, because I can feel right now when he said it, I'd be like, what? And so now you have to trust the process. Tell us a little more detail about why that's important.
Well, it's just, again, as I said before, it's just entrepreneurs tend to be bootstrappers. And so, yeah, it's great that you're going to have them save some time, which you should do. But I think phase 1 is, make me money, right? Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs need money. Money is the rocket fuel for all businesses, right?
That's right.
Everything. So, have your VA focus on the things that are going to make money. So, for example, at 1, 2, 3 employee, we're really marketing centric. We realize that the lifeblood of all business is marketing. If you can dial in the marketing in your business, if you have a ton of leads coming through the door, if your bank accounts are overflowing with money, then you can probably buy yourself out of just about any challenge you face in your business today, right? Whereas if you're just hiring lots of staff to get all the busy stuff off your plate, that's good, but it doesn't ensure you're going to make money, right? So we always, a lot of people come to us at 1, 2, 3 employee, and they have the marketing dialed in, not a lot, but some do. And so they just say, hey, do my data entry or do my social media or do my scheduling. We're happy to do it. But if you don't tell us otherwise, that is our focus. So we help entrepreneurs, make more money in their business, hire more, scale more. And then, of course, later, they can get rid of the minutia too. And so then it kind of works out really well. So that's always my suggestion for most entrepreneurs.
I want to pop into this question because I think it's a good one. How do you not end up spending your time as a manager of your VAs?
The key to that really, and that came from Martin, right, Martin? So the key is processes. So if you have strong processes in place, you don't have to be a big manager. Now, what's pretty cool is, I'll back up for a second. So if you're looking at outsourcing, there's really 2 ways you can do it. So one is you can hire freelancers that work from home, or 2, you can go with a managed facility like 1, 2, 3 employee. And there's pros and cons to both. But really most of the pros, I believe, having done this for well over a decade, come from a managed facility. So you pay a little more for a managed facility, but the difference is, like, we have people all the time that are utilizing freelancers that are working from home, and they may work with that freelancer for a while, maybe, several months or what have you. They begin to get them trained up and things are starting to hum. And then that person disappears, or, they have a baby, or there's an act of God, or, there's a hurricane, or who knows what, or
done that.
You name it. Or there's roosters clucking in the background, right? And so then you've got issues, and then they come to, like 1, 2, 3, where we have full redundancy. You can pay with your credit card. You have total accountability. The list goes on and on. But probably the biggest things are, with us at least, is probably threefold. One is you have accountability, right? So you have somebody to complain to who can make it right. 2 is you have redundancy, and 3, you have oversight. So we actually, when you hire an employee, 1, 2, 3 employee, we actually give you a project manager. So that project manager can help execute your plans, and that's actually included in the process. So it just makes, for a better process. And also, one of the clearest advantages to using a managed facility is scaling. Businesses expand when they
Yes.
contract, right? And so
Yes.
the concept is you train once. So with us, you put a process in place, you train your project manager and or virtual assistant, and then as it starts to scale, you don't have to train. Just let your team do the training. So your lead will just train the people and help you scale, and then you just fine tune. So if people only walk away with one thing today is, yeah, exactly. Martin said it. Managed facilities. Yeah, it's a great solution.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a point where I call there's really two mistakes in startup phase, and you're right about them bootstrapping a business. And everybody who makes their plan, most especially most startups that make their plan, never once plan for explosive growth. Like they get out of the gate and it blows up and it's huge. It's bigger than they imagined.
Yeah.
They all plan for, here's a little bit of growth. They're super conservative numbers. They're like, the first year we're going to hopefully do this, and maybe next year they're doing this. And twice now, out of all the businesses that I've started, the number one reason I've had 18, 12 have been successful. Out of the 2 of the 6 that failed, they failed because they blew up out of the gate, and I wasn't prepared for the growth. I wasn't prepared for that to happen. I didn't have one of those managers in place. I didn't have enough of those employees in place. And you are running like you've never run. You're just burning the candle at both ends. I think it took us 2.5 years before we got stable ground because we blew up out of the gate. And that is like number one. And then number 2 is you think that you can do it all. I want to tell everybody right now, the solopreneur, it is the biggest lie ever. There's no such thing as a solopreneur. I did the thing where you try to do 5 people's jobs every day, where you get up and you roll out of bed and you work from 6 a.m. till midnight or 1, take a nap, get up and do it again. Don't believe the solopreneur lie. The way you grow is to plan for your growth. And part of that planning for your growth means you have to have systems in place in the beginning right now. So that project manager, maybe you only have, your one VA at that one time. And then maybe you only have one project manager, one VA, and that's it. That's what you start out as. And then when he talked about being able to scale, as long as you have those systems in place, you don't know when, you don't know where, but the explosion will happen. It's like there's a wave of your business and you don't know when that igniter is going to happen. But when the igniter happens, your job is to ride that momentum up to where it's going or where it's taking to you. Or if you have to pivot, you need a team that's trained already to pivot. And while you're having that, it sounds like it's insane to have those in place right now, but that is some of the best things you can do for yourself, is have those in place. I want to talk about the project you're doing right now. I know you're in the middle of a launch and et cetera. And I know it's always helping better entrepreneurs. And I don't want to talk about it. I want you to talk about it on this launch you're doing right now, because you have a pretty big, exciting, really exciting thing going on right now.
Yeah, we do. It is exciting. So every year or two, we'll do sort of a big launch. And sometimes it's software, sometimes it's education. But ideally, the goal is always to sell more human capital, because that's the business I'm in. Yeah. So like, for example, in 2016, we did a massive launch where we had a software platform for generating leads on social media. This time around, we have a launch, which is also kind of a software launch. And we are doing a 3-day business masterclass that starts on the 28th. And it's just in the evenings, where we will basically empower over 10,000 entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs live and help them to start their own home-based online business. And it's a big challenge. It was kind of our way of trying to help out during the COVID thing. Yeah, we'll have somewhere between 10 and 20,000 people live on the live stream, and it's experiential. So on most webinars, you're just learning, but in this 3-day business masterclass, you won't just be learning, you'll be doing. You'll be generating leads online, attracting your first customers. And if you think that we have fun at our events, this is going to be literally a party. It's going to be that cool. And so behind the scenes,
all your events are parties. All of
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
conferences, all of them are
yeah.
parties.
Totally. Well, this will be a virtual party, and we're super excited about it. So it starts on this coming Monday. Actually, can I give out the link for that?
Yeah, do it, man. Put that
Sure.
link in there, Karen. Put that link up.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. If you've never had an online business, or maybe you have a job and your job is gone and you're thinking, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Invest 3 days with Daven. Invest. I mean, come on. This 10,000 people, this is world changing right here. This
Mhm.
is something where somebody said, how do we really solve the problem? What do people really need? If you've never done this before, I can assure you, you are in the best hands working with Daven than you would be with a lot of the other gurus that are out there pretending they're gurus. This
Yeah.
is a guy who's actually lived it, and I know he walks his talk. So this is Karen, can you put the put the link in, or type down below Daven's, what is it? I've seen the what is it called? It's a 3-day
Yep.
masterclass.
Yep. So it's a 3-day business masterclass.
There, it's in the private chat. Let me just
Yep.
grab this right here.
Yep.
This is going to be a really amazing event. Over 10,000 people, some 20,000 people going to be on there teaching live. People are going to be making 20,000 new businesses in 3 days. Watch out, Mr. President. Somebody's going to be outdoing you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're super excited about it, and like I said, you won't just be learning; you'll be doing. We actually walk you through the process of generating leads online, and like I said earlier, I believe if you dial that in your business, then you'll be in great shape. I'm always shocked when I travel and I speak to entrepreneurs, and I always learn that they create this business. They might have like a great idea, but then marketing is always an afterthought. Like, how are you planning to market that? Well, I hadn't really thought that out. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, that is key. So, we're going to give you the tools to basically generate leads online. So if you have that, you can apply that to any business, but then we'll even show you like a business model that you can do as well. And, yeah, I mean, it's a process that we've been doing for a long time with clients, but we've never done it on this scale before. And we just felt like the time was right. And so we're doing it.
Really
So 3daybusinessmasterclass.com. And just so you know,
and
too,
you guys go register for that.
Yeah,
don't listen to us. The link's in there in 3 different places right now. Go over there, get in that thing, get that 3-day masterclass.
Yeah, 3-day business masterclass. And we only do it in the evenings for 3 days. So as you can imagine, that's not a lot of hours to get somebody set up in a business. So there is a prep for it as well. So when you register, you'll end up in our VIP membership. And in there, there's a series of quick lessons that you'll do. It won't take a lot of time. And we gamify the whole thing. So like I said, if we're not having fun, we're not doing it. So we actually reward you. We have real prizes. We're giving away all kinds of cool gifts and what have you in the membership. And so you want to make sure you spend a little time in there and do that so that you're prepped for the masterclass, which starts Monday night at 5 p.m. PST or PDT, 8 p.m. EDT.
That's going to be so good to be a part of. And it's going to be good to be a part of because it's history making.
It is.
It's a thing that is about possibility, about, everybody talks about how the world is falling into depression because we have numbers that are below, we have businesses that are closing, things are topsy-turvy, but now you have something that's history making where a team of people, there's 2 people involved in teaching this class right now, are going to be able to do something because technology is here. It's not 1928. We still have technology that will blow your mind. And now we can create in a 3-day period 20,000 new entrepreneurs. Now, if they can do that once, that is setting a precedent. It's setting a precedent for what's possible in the future, what's possible for you to do. Now, let me just tell you something. I've learned one thing that's really valuable and most important, and that is I only had to learn how to run or do a business once. Just like I learned cooking once, I learned gardening once, I learned to drive once, then it's mine. And that one skill set, that one learning to have a business online, that one skill set, that is how you're going to protect your freedom in the future. It's going to be literally the game changer that's going to protect your freedom in the future. It gives you mobility. Your money doesn't, leave you. It stays with you. And when we're looking at all those people in the fires, let's say you lived in the house that burnt down, your bank burnt down, your gas station around you burnt down, your job that you used to work around burnt down, and you have nothing. But if you have that online business, you can rebuild, you can get out of there, you have options that you don't have anymore. And some people, the same with the flood. If it comes to your town and you live and work in just your town, everything about your life dies when that town gets flooded, tornadoed, or anything. To have an online business, that is insurance, it's protection, it's freedom, it's those things that you need to do. And you are learning from some masters business masterclass to get online. What would it feel like to have a business up and running in 3 days? Yeah. What would it feel like to be able to turn your life around just like that? And if you don't have a computer at home, go to your local library, get on that computer, or sign up for that class and learn how to do this. This is about rebuilding your life. This is about changing your life here. And I got to tell you, I told you there are two people in my life who really changed it. I came from the brick and mortar businesses. You guys know that I'm old enough that at one point that was my only choice, was to have a brick and mortar building.
Me too.
I remember the first time that I set up an eBay store, which was just, I felt like it took so long. But when I made my first $8,000 in 1 hour, I was like, okay, there's something here. And from that point on, online has been the only way for me. That's just the only way I roll.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Vickie. I my very first business, my clothing company, I first kind of started out of my parents' house, but the next step was to get my first showroom, and I opened that on Melrose in LA. If you're familiar with Melrose, that's kind of the fashion street in LA. Yep. And I literally had to take everything I could beg, borrow, or steal to start that business. I needed a building. I had to, sign a big lease. I had to build it out, and it was a massive risk. And I knew that if it failed, it would take me like 10 years to pay that back. And I was only, in my teens. That was like over half of my life being spent in indentured servitude. So it was very scary. But today, if you have an idea, you can throw it up on the internet immediately and you can try it out. And if it fails, you can move on to the next one. If it takes off, you can scale it. Now, as a result, there's way more competition than there used to be, right? There was less competition because the barrier to entry was higher. But now lower barrier to entry, but huge opportunity, and anybody can play. Anybody can play, which is just the internet in a gazillion ways has leveled the playing field and continues to every single day. So
absolutely. Yeah. So Daven, the masterclass, will it be recorded for replay?
We will probably look at doing a recap, but honestly, I'm going to tell you want to be there live. I mean, that's where all the network is. That's where you'll be networking with others. Like I said, it's experiential. You'll have a much bigger experience if you can be there. So look, I mean, unless you're having life-altering surgery, just change your plans and just show up. But if you think you can't make it, just register. We'll see. We might be doing some sort of recap. So yeah.
It's interesting because as I listened to this, I told you I was only going to put people on here who have helped me grow my business. I told you that everything was going to be about the post-pandemic world, the post-COVID economy that we're moving into. This is what I wanted to help you build and thrive in. We had Joel Com on a couple of weeks ago, and he's my design guy. He designed the lifestyle, worked with me in that. And my systems guy is this guy right here. Easy to have systems. And I remember when I was in the design guy and I didn't have my systems guy yet, I was so overworked. I mean, so overworked. And now I am not overworked and a lot happier to have these things in. And you want to get these systems. I'm giving you the people I think are the best people to learn from in there. These are the people that I've used. I've used their tools. I've used their products. I've used their businesses. These are the people I outsource to. These are the things that I do right now. I'm giving you what works. And I really want you to take that into mind when it comes to this 3-day class. You want to have something that's going to be up that works. And that's where we're headed.
Yeah, you made a great point too. Joel Com's a perfect example. So Joel came to us, a 1-2-3 employee. we, he had a virtual team that we created for him at 123, and we helped him to scale the business, and he sold the company for millions. So
Yeah.
that's a great example of another 123 success story. So it's kind of cool.
And there's going to be, if you work with the right people and the right tools, and that's the thing that is big for me right now, Daven. There's a lot of noise. There's so much noise and so many people peddling stuff that really is pretty marginal. And then there are those people that are the doers. And on the Coffee Break Show, as soon as we walked into this pandemic, I saw it coming in like December, and I was like, uh-oh, that's going to be here now. And you can calculate, if you're even a sensitive, even a marginal entrepreneur, you can see and connect the dots that are coming all the way across the board. And then you can either build bridges there, pivot there, put in new systems in place, or you can just keep trying to rescue the same ship that has too many holes in the boat. And so I really wanted to make this conversation about that. If you guys have any last question for him, you put that in there. And then the next request is, even if you're hashtag replay, you want to be able to go inside of the conversation right now. You can see in the scroll 3 times there's a link to go to his masterclass that is going to be starting. Did you say Monday it was going to be, right? It's a 3daybusinessmasterclass.com. 3daybusinessmasterclass.com. You want to hurry right now because it's going to be starting on the 28th on that Monday. Get yourself registered. Invest in yourself. Invest in your business. Stop eating out for a week and just invest. And if he tells you to buy this so it will work, it'll work. Buy it, get it, do it. This is the time to invest in yourself. Daven, I haven't caught up with you for a long time. I remember walking down, we were downtown Denver at a hotel. It was a morning, and we were just out walking in the morning. And you were telling me about your plans, which have way unfolded already. And you're on to the next plan and the next plan and the next plan. And I'm always excited to talk to you. I think it's always fun. It's inspiring. It's great to have you on the show. And I feel like I can't emphasize enough how important it is for people to be on this 3-day business masterclass. But I want to ask you for a favor. I want a little sneak peek, maybe just 3 things they're going to learn, maybe 3 little highlights about that. Can you share kind of some insider info about your 3-day masterclass?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 3 things. One is we're going to use one of the popular social media platforms to generate leads. We're going to show you how to turn it into a virtual lead machine that will spit out 1,000 new connections every single month.
Cool.
And what we're going to do is, one of the challenges with social media, though, is that there's a lot of noise on social media, right? So it's one thing to generate the leads. It's another thing to be able to break the ice with those leads. So we're going to show you our digital business card door opener that will open the door with these potential prospects, which will literally get them coming to you as opposed to you having to chase them. And then finally, we're going to show you how to create a service that businesses want to buy that they literally can't live without. So it's kind of an all.
That's juicy.
Part 1, generate the leads. Part 2, break the ice with the prospects. And Part 3, sell them something, make a lot of money, baby.
That's right. Show me the money. Yeah. This has been so cool. I am so blessed. Thank you for being with us. You guys, make sure that you sign up for the 3daybusinessmasterclass.com. Be on that. I have some pop-ins right here. Daven, you're a very special person. It was fun to meet you on the Marketers Cruise and being the event planner at Peter Helm's event in Laos. Yeah. I was so happy to sit with you and your children for a meal. Daven will always dress up. It's true. He always has. When he's live, he is the most dressed up suit and tie.
Yeah.
Him and what's his name? Timberlake. You're the master of the amazing entrance. You really are. This is what's really fun about them. He's very cash today. He's really, really cash. And I like that. I want to let you know, last time I was talking to Rob and I was like, oh my God, what if he's overly dressed and I'm not dressed up enough or something? I was like, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
No, I'm digging it. Yeah. This is very good. Okay. And here, free. Come on. Does it get any easier than this? For the 3-day live experiential masterclass starts Monday, September 28th at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Register at 3daybusinessmasterclass.com. 3-day business masterclass.
Right. So that's the wrong link there. It's actually 3-day
businessmasterclass.com. That's right. Daven, it has been really awesome to see you. Thank you for sharing some time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing some secrets with us. And you guys, that's the Wednesday Welcome Coffee Break Show. This is Vickie Helm, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Mwah! Peace out. Thank you for being here. Really, go sign up for that class. Get going.